Gorillaz are my favorite band, and they have been for a little over a year now. And what a year it's been for me. I've had my ups, I've had my downs, and I've discovered a lot about myself as a person. And Gorillaz have certainly been a big part of my improved way of looking at things. When I began listening to Gorillaz after a friend of mine sent me one of their music videos, I was hooked by the distinctive art style and the unique sound that only Damon Albarn could produce. Gorillaz don't define themselves to one certain genre, and this opens up possibilities for all kinds of collaborations, moods, and ideas. There's something for everyone, which is impressive. So today, because some of you asked for it, I'm doing something that is easier said than done for me. I'm gonna go over my favorite tracks made by Gorillaz, which is really hard for me to do, as there are so many unforgettable songs to choose from. This was originally going to be a top 10 after all, but it felt impossible to narrow it down to just 10 songs. I had to make it a top 20. Now before we begin, I must stress that this list is all my personal opinion. It's not going by any public polls or popular consensus or anything like that. I'm simply going over the songs that are, to me, the catchiest, sound best, and affect me emotionally, whether positively or negatively. This is gonna be a deeply personal list of mine, as I have been hooked with Gorillaz ever since I first started listening to them last summer. It's all gonna culminate here. So please, respect that I might not think exactly as you. We can all come together and simply discuss music without sparking a flame war. With that said, let's begin by counting down my top 20 Gorillaz songs. Put on some headphones and enjoy. Number 20. The Parish of Space Dust. We're starting off with an oftentimes overlooked track from an oftentimes overlooked album in Gorillaz' discography, The Fall. The Parish of Space Dust is a simple tune that begins by switching between different classical songs, while radio static interrupts each one. This gives off a feeling of turbulence and frantic motion, before once again being interrupted by the main melody of the song, which is just fantastic. It's a triumphant tune that makes me feel uplifted and extremely happy. The radio aesthetic from the intro never disappears and lingers on throughout the entire song. It truly feels like you're on the road with Damon and the other people on tour, and you're in the middle of Texas listening to the American radio. I think it's a fantastic, albeit simple song that is severely underrated. If you haven't heard it yet, give it a few listens and you might find something in it worth keeping. Number 19. Do Ya Thing. Do Ya Thing is Gorillaz' most recent song, and it is absolutely insane. It was released in 2012 and features guest musicians James Murphy and Andre 3000. It's an energetic, high-octane roller coaster ride through various different moods and emotions. We begin with Damon's verse, which feels very abstract, very fast, and somewhat rebellious. We get our catchy hook before Andre takes over and delivers his verse, and let me tell you, when Andre starts rapping, he not only takes over the whole song, he hijacks it. He owns it. It's his song now. We then soon transition into a loud, bombastic, and exhilarating soundscape where Andre pretty much loses it and goes on about how he's the shit. And for a moment, you believe it. This goes on for minutes and minutes until the song slows down for a calm, methodical decrescendo that closes off the song. It's awesome and makes me feel completely badass when I walk down the street listening to it. It goes from energy to ecstasy to cockiness and rebelliousness and then back down to earth. It's awesome. Number 18. FiveFour. FiveFour is the second track on Gorillaz' self-titled album. Their first track, Rehash, did a really good job of opening the album with a catchy, easygoing track that, when you get down to it, perhaps played it a little safe. It did have a certain sound to it, but on the second track, this one-of-a-kind sound comes blasting through on FiveFour. This is Gorillaz, doing whatever it takes to produce great music with any means necessary, even if it means using unconventional tempos or singing in a funny voice. Yeah, FiveFour is Gorillaz. The song has a head-banging beat to it, with rocking guitars and sweet vocals from 2D and Noodle. The song explodes near the end, only for it to stop abruptly, followed by 2D chillingly stating,
"She made me kill myself, come on!"
before closing off with a great outro section. It's a fantastic song that was for the longest time meant to be a single off of the album, but which was replaced by other songs on the album each time. But with a music video storyboard like that, I'm not terribly surprised that they decided to scrap the single a few times. Number 17. 192000. 192000 screams of innocence. It screams of driving down the highway on a nice summer evening, and that may be in part because of the music video, but hey, that's the impression I get every time I listen to this song. This is probably the most, kid-friendly Gorillaz have ever gotten. What with the simple enough beat, Noodle providing some adorably nonsensical lyrics, and generally looking too damn cute. And that epic flash game they made based on the video was the shit back in the day. This is the song you play when you just want to kick back in your chair on the beach in the middle of the summer. The beat on the song is incredibly groovy, and I just love the bass in the background. That is the bass, right? Yeah, it's great. It's just a really, really happy song that puts a smile on my face every time, and is a temporary trip down Happiness Road before getting into some of the heavier stuff on the record. Some of which I will go over now. Number 16. Latin Simona, English version. While the Spanish version of Latin Simona is incredibly beautiful, I think I would have to go with the English version as my favorite. I suppose I feel that way because I understand English a lot better than I understand Spanish, so I suppose it hits closer to home. Following the happy song that was 192000, Latin Simona delves into some heavier subjects that I personally can relate to very much. I've had times where I have doubted myself, and I think a lot of other people have as well. Sometimes I have asked myself if I am different, if there is something wrong with me. This is what 2D does in this song, and it hits you straight in the heart. The song is profound, the instrumental is somber and beautiful, and the vocals are tragic and powerful. I can't help but get chills every time 2D says, "What's the point? It's funny till you left to kill yourself in this town." 2D feels that there is something wrong with him. He feels that something always gets him down when nothing is wrong, seemingly. What this is up for interpretation, of course, but there are some very well thought out theories about it that I will not get into here. Rest assured, 2D in this song has been pushed into an isolated corner, where he doubts himself so much and wonders what the matter with him is. He sees no other option but to take his own life. It's tragic, it's ugly, and it's a very emotional song for me. It's also one of the best. Number 15. Soundcheck Gravity. Soundcheck Gravity, together with another track on the self-titled album, Man Research Clapper, are two tracks that, to me, feel very similar in that they're both heavily experimental, feature 2D's falsetto predominantly, and both sound like no other song I've ever heard or probably will ever hear again. New Genius Brother also fits into that camp, but back to Soundcheck. Soundcheck is a great hip-hoppy dubby track that sounds amazing. It begins quietly with 2D singing in the middle of the night, with a reserved acoustic guitar melody in the background, before turning dark, muddy, and serious. Whenever I listen to the song, I see nothing but psychedelic shapes and patterns in my head, and I think the visuals Gorillaz used when playing this song live fitted perfectly with how the song makes me feel. What makes me prefer Soundcheck to Man Research is that Soundcheck feels a lot more grounded and a lot more personal, while Man Research is much more out there, more crazy, and more intense. That's not a bad thing, of course, but the way 2D and the instrumental goes together in the song around this part is nothing short of brilliant. It's experimental, it's dark, and a little uncertain, but it's most definitely great music. Number 14. Empire Ants. It seems that everyone's story with Empire Ants from Plastic Beach seems to be the same. The track opens up, and it's slow, calm, and serene. Some might be looking for something more fast-paced and action-packed, and then decide to skip it. Then, perhaps a little later, they go back to Empire Ants to listen to it in its entirety. And then, well, they reach enlightenment. Empire Ants could have without a doubt been a single. It's that good. What starts out as a peaceful, reflective track with beautifully haunting vocals by 2D, soon enough transitions into an amazing, explosive electronic masterpiece of a track. This section features some flawless vocal performances from Yukimi Nagano, who comes from the Swedish band Little Dragon, who also helped out on this wonderful song. I mean, you know a song featuring Swedish folk immediately makes me fall in love with it. It's inevitable! You'd think that after the track picks up, the serenity and beauty that was present in the beginning might start to wear off, but no. The track is dazzling all the way through, and I love it. Empire Ants is fantastic. Number 13. Highway Under Construction. Another somewhat overlooked song. Not as much as number 20, but it isn't really a song that gets the most attention, which is honestly a huge shame. Highway Under Construction from D-Sides is a mild, chilled out track that never fails to make me relax. The bass sounds incredible, and Damon's, or rather 2D's vocals, sound harmonic and dreamy. It truly has a sleepy, late-night bar feel to it, and slowly builds on the calming bass melody to deliver a jaunty, uplifting piano section to close off the song. This is my favorite part of the song for numerous reasons. The build-up before it is very hypnotic, and the piano section perfectly rounds off a very easygoing song. It fits perfectly for when I'm on my way to school on a grey morning, or on my way home from a long day. Like I said, it's very relaxing, and is one of my favorite tunes. Number 12. Bobby in Phoenix. Bobby in Phoenix is another criminally underrated track from the fall. The Fall is an interesting experiment, in that it was entirely put together on the go, and on Damon Albarn's 2D's iPad during the Escape to Plastic Beach World Tour of 2010. A lot of the tracks on the album therefore sounds very digital, very electronic and very robotic, so to speak. However, when Bobby and Phoenix begins, all of those bleeps and bloops are put on hold as an acoustic guitar takes over and presents the listener with an incredibly down-to-earth and organic song featuring Bobby Womack, who delivers an outstanding vocal performance. Bobby and Phoenix is a profound song that brims with soul and passion, and it's through my interpretation, with the help of Ralph Wiggum8 on Reddit and his incredible It's About Drugs Obviously series on the Gorillaz subreddit, that the song truly shines, by being about Bobby coming to terms with the fact that he is soon going to pass away. Bobby in 2010 was old by this point and suffering from Alzheimer's. This, without question, is affecting him a great deal. Bobby's soul is fading away, his light is fading away, but he's still kicking. He's still there to deliver those unbelievable vocals. All of this comes from a song tucked away in one of the smaller albums that Gorillaz have produced. Absolutely beautiful and certainly profound. Bobby Womack, I hope you're up in the skies playing some sweet tunes with Bowie right about now. Rest in peace, man.
It's got a way of helping you to breathe a little better.
Number 11. Last Living Souls. So, here we are. Gorillaz' first album was a huge success. They had made it big. And with that, they had their fair share of naysayers who liked to say that Gorillaz were a one-off gag and that they would never work again. It was all just a gimmick, right? Along comes Demon Days, their second album, and blows pretty much everything that the first album did out of the water, and then some. Now, whether you prefer the self-titled album or Demon Days is up to personal interpretation, but one cannot deny that Demon Days is much more tightly focused, complex, and a huge step up production-wise. And this certainly shows on the second track of the album, Last Living Souls. Every layer works together in harmony, every section feels natural and fitting, and everything prepares you for what the rest of the album has in store for you. It's big, it's captivating, and it's Gorillaz entering a new, mature stage in their careers. I love it! Well, now that we've gone over the first 10 tracks on the list, I think it's about time we take a break. Join me next time as we count down the top 10 favorite Gorillaz tracks. Oh yeah! See you then! Hopefully. Stay awesome, everyone. Goodbye. It started raining just when I started filming. It's actually pretty cool. It's a nice backdrop.